This is how I launched a world-class MVP in under 7 days. So who am I? My name is Yarrow. I'm founder of software studio yarrow.dev. I've been coding for over 10 years and I've built 50 plus web applications. When I'm not coding, I'm playing chess or piano. Yarrow.dev, my software agency, is trusted by top tier companies, and you'll notice some Fortune 500 companies there in the list, as well as some VC-backed startups and some bootstrapped startups. We have a 100% customer satisfaction rate and 25 plus projects delivered. So you want to launch an enterprise grade MVP that looks something like some of the products that we've built. These are some of our clients, some of the screens that we've built, and some of the functionalities that we've integrated with, including progressive web applications that you can install on your phone that integrate with a web application. And we built those and dozens more like these. This case study specifically is about revivedeadlinks.com. It scans websites to find broken links and accessibility issues. A product we took from idea, 0 lines of code, to live web application with the first paying customer in 7 days. Yes, you read that right. And I will run you through exactly how I did it. But before I do that, you probably want to make sure it's a legit product and not just a fancy landing page. So you can check it out at revivedeadlinks.com. Now is a good time to do that. I'll show you. This is the live site, and feel free to check it out yourself to know that what I'm saying is the truth. These are the functionalities I built in 7 days. Beautiful responsive UI, desktop and mobile. Scan results page, you'll see these are the results for a scan, desktop and mobile with the dead links, pages scanned, accessibility issues, and the list here below. Custom logic to scan and find dead links and accessibility issues. Scalable infrastructure for scanning up to 4,000 concurrent page scans. And you'll notice here in production, when we launched, we hit 1,400 concurrent scans. The user dashboard, which allows you to create a new scan and then have a search and a list of your recent scans. We've got instant search here with the highlighting of the relevant matching phrase. Automated page scans that lets users create scans on a recurring frequency that will automatically scan their website. And the custom logic to let users automate scans on an interval to implement this recurring scan functionality. Logic to hit webhooks and integrate with any API via Zapier, which means we can basically hook up to any API out there through this product. Automated tweets when a site has broken links, tagging the website owner on x.com. This is pretty cool. So basically any site, any person that has a site in their bio, we scan the site, and if it has broken links, we tag them on x.com. For example, here you'll see I found 416 broken links on incubatories.com, and I have tagged the website owner who is now updating the site. Also, you'll notice I added some logic here to generate the open graph image, which is this image here used on social networks. And you'll notice here the logo on the right is actually dynamically generated, and it comes from the website that we scan. So this image will change for every single report, and you'll see it's the exact same logo as the owner of the website. Then automated email reports, which will tell you how many dead links and accessibility issues are found on a site once you run a recurring scan. Responsive sidebar that will work on desktop and mobile. Admin dashboard, which is the dashboard that I use to see the performance of the website in the last 24 hours and then different time intervals and all time, as well as look at all of the users, scans, and visitors on the site. DevOps setup plus CI/CD, so automated deployments whenever I make a code change. Same for the functions on Google Cloud, which is the scalable infrastructure for scanning. Beautiful animations that look like this, or like this. Loading states, and animations for the tables. Automated scan animations, so pages loading in. And yeah, that's it. So here's the proof. 7 days of commits. This is the proof that I did it all in 7 days. So this is the link to the first commit on the repository. You'll see I did links. And this is the initial commit on October 25th, 2024. You'll notice all of these commits are by me. And there you go. So if we scan back in time, or forwards in time, then I should say, October 28th, October 29th, October 31st, and November 1st. So this last commit was just a quick styling fix. So actually we built this in 6 days. I built this in 6 days, finished on October 31st. So all of the functionality was in by October 31st. So there we go. Now that you have proof that I build functional, fast, reliable, responsive, beautiful products at incredible speed, the question is, how? Easy, a 286-step process. No, I'm not joking. And if at this point you don't care how and you just want me to do it for you, then you should book a short call to talk about your project. You'll see a button on the screen to book a call. If you're still here, then let's get into it. So here is the step-by-step MVP process with our tech stack condensed. So we use a extended version of this when actually implementing, but this is a condensed version so I can fit it all into this video. And this is a step-by-step process, 286 steps split into 10 categories, and we will go through them now. So first thing is design and branding and the setup. So we replace all instances of the placeholder. We have this project that is a starter project that we built internally that allows us to create MVPs about 3 times quicker. If you don't have this, you'll just have to make a Next.js, Tailwind, TypeScript, Prisma project from scratch, which will take a little bit. But yeah, we do this all the time. So of course we have optimized systems for this. Then Tailwind customization. So we define and create a color palette. We set up font families and we customize the spacing, shadows, and basically style the page as to what it will look like. We create a library of reusable components that adhere to the style guidelines. And you'll notice, for example, in Revive Dead Links, all of the card components are the same. All of the text is the same. All of the colors reused are all the same, of course. So yeah, we ensure the components are fully responsive, so they adapt to various screen sizes, and we use Tailwind's inbuilt functionality that helps us do that nice and quick. Logo and visual assets, we design logo, we create 2 versions of the logo with text and without. We design an open graph image that combines the logo, the brand colors, and we generate favicons, which is the small image you'll see in the preview of the website on Google, for example. Then and even though we're not a design agency, we will, do this logo stuff. If you don't have a defined logo or anything like that, we will build you one, and you can always, hire a professional branding agency if you need to afterwards. But this, is just for building and launching an MVP in 7 days. So SEO metadata. We optimize the project for SEO, so we define title descriptions, meta tags. We implement the Open Graph and Twitter card metadata with the image that we used before, and we use structured data markup so that your results will show up on Google. Then we create responsive design, so dark mode, light mode, depending on the requirements, and then we create a design that is mobile first and completely responsive. Then if we decide to do the UI animations, we integrate the animations and we make the user interface more engaging and intuitive. We have micro interactions like hover effects on buttons and fading on modal overlays, things like that. We use frame of motion for the navigation and basically navigation animations, and the easing functions. We create custom easing functions so that it feels completely natural when the user navigates and the pages animate. Email service setup. So we create the service accounts in Google. So this whole process basically allows us to send emails to users, like the email report that I showed you earlier. And we don't need any intermediary between us and the email sending. So we do it directly with the Gmail API, which means we don't need to pay for a service like ConvertKit or MailChimp. And we have no limit on the amounts of emails we can send and the amount of users that we can send them to. Email notification system. So this is the setup for the different emails that we have, all of the flows, and we handle any errors and create rate limiting to avoid, Gmail's limits in terms of sending too many emails at once. We warm up the email using instantly.ai, which is a product that lets you warm up a inbox so that it always sends emails to your inbox and not to spam. And then we set up security and compliance on the email domain, and make sure that nobody can steal your domain and spoof it and send emails on your behalf. Then we set up databases and environments. So we initialize and configure basically our databases and platforms. So we use PlanetScale for this project specifically because it scales infinitely and it lets us write at extremely quick speeds and without bottlenecking the database. So even with 4,000 concurrent scans, our write speeds are something like 80 milliseconds. And let me actually pull that up. And you'll notice our query latency at worst is 40 milliseconds per query, even though we're running thousands of queries in parallel. So you'll notice here 8,400 queries. So the database schema and Prisma setup. So we create all the relevant models for the project. So relationships between the models. In this case, it will be the scans and the users and the visitors of the website, which are anonymous users. And then we manage the environment variables. So we create all of the necessary environment variables, which are already defined in the project. So the starter that we created actually has all of these defined. So we just need to populate them and use Vercel to handle injecting the correct variables in the correct environment. We implement database security rules on planet scale. We optimize the performance, as I mentioned earlier. So we create a bunch of indexes and optimizations, which is what I was showing you earlier on the planet scale graph, and why we managed to get the query times to be so fast. We handle database migrations automatically, and we set up testing and staging databases. Then we set up authentication. So we create permissions. You'll notice I have access to the admin dashboard, whilst if you try and go onto revivedeadlinks.com and sign up for an account, you won't see the admin dashboard. So that will be role-based access controls based on the actual user type. So admin user and normal user. In this case, we don't have a moderator for this specific site, so we didn't use that. And then we implement the middleware, so that will ensure that the correct people are authorized to view the correct pages, and we store the user roles. Then we manage the JWT and session management. So this is all to do with authentication and how we handle basically people trying to impersonate other people and trying to authenticate as someone else. And we basically have solutions for all of those things so that we are completely secure. Then we've got social login integration. So for this one, we used Google sign-in. So we had to set up all of the Google credentials and then actually apply for Google approval to get the sign-in. All of this within 7 days, because we have a step-by-step process for that as well, where we include the privacy policy and everything that Google wants in the privacy policy immediately. It gets your app approved really, really quickly. We've done this dozens of times, so have a complete process for that as well. Implement two-factor authentication. For this site, we didn't do that, so we didn't need this step. And same for password security, because it's only Google sign-in. We didn't need to do anything to do with password security, but we have, all of the processes in place if you do need password login. Secure OAuth setup. So this is to do with setting up the actual auth with the application. And the privacy policies, as I mentioned, we already have predefined privacy policies that Google accepts every time. And we've got additional security measures in terms of figuring out kind of malicious requests. And then error handling and logging. So any errors or any problems with the product, we can catch and we can fix very quickly, which is how before launch you'll see we had some delays in the database, and then we have that all logged both with the PlanetScale tool and also in our actual logs of the project. So we were able to identify that quickly and fix it. Payments integration. So integrating a secure and reliable payment system. So we use Stripe for payments. We integrated all of the correct variables for Stripe and implemented all of the products themselves on the Stripe UI. So the Pro plan, the business plan, and the agency plan. We handle all the webhooks from Stripe, so we update subscriptions based on the webhook results. And then we have the client-side payment flow, which allows the user to actually see the portal where they pay, and the server-side processing, which again basically will handle anything that Stripe sends our way based on the user actions. This is what I was telling you about in the UI. So we configure the plans and allow users to switch between plans, create invoices if necessary, and we handle any problems with the Stripe connectivity, or basically make it all secure. That's fine. And we test the payment flows. So we use Stripe's built-in test environment to test all of the payment flows so we can guarantee that they will work the same in production. And we handle subscription updates, especially downgrades and upgrades. So a customer that already exists and how we handle that. It's all here. You built, we've got analytics reporting in terms of user conversion rates and things like that. So we integrate with Google Analytics as well, which you'll see later on with the Facebook and Google Pixel integration. And then we've got email notifications to the users if any payments fail. Then we actually implement the custom logic. So any to-dos in the code base, these are the to-dos that we have in the starter. So the starter will come with a set of instructions, and they will all be customized to the project that we're building. And all of these are basically resolved in this first step. Then we create the custom screens and UI. So we create the dashboard, the profiles, the admin panel in this case, the landing page, and basically any other custom screens we create at this step of the process. And then we develop the custom functionality that will populate those screens. So here, in this case, it will be parsing the sitemap, detecting the dead links, tracking the IPs, real-time polling, so that it will get the latest results from the scan consistently every 6 seconds, and rate limiting and parallel processing, so that we don't overwhelm the servers and start getting errors and timeouts. The search functionality in this case, so highlighting, filtering, sorting, all of that in the table that I showed you earlier. The scan history, domain parsing, timeout memory management, landing page, integrating with external APIs, so Zapier in our case, dashboard, and automated background jobs. So we use Google Cloud to automate the scheduling and make sure that we never go over that 4,000 limit, and we schedule any scans that happen concurrently over 4,000 to happen sequentially instead of concurrently, so we never go over the limit. That's that. Analytics and monitoring. So as I mentioned earlier, we integrate Google Analytics. We integrate Microsoft Clarity, so I can watch any session replay, which is a recording of what the users do, which is really, really useful. We can basically tell what every single user is doing, whether they are confused, whether they stopped at some point, whether they got lost in the conversion process. So really, really useful stuff. And error tracking, we integrate with Sentry to track any errors, and LogRocket. For this project, we didn't use LogRocket, but we do use it for tracking user session recordings if we need a bit more depth. Then event tracking and custom metrics. So basically any specific action that we want, we can create a custom metric for that, and we can view them either in Google Data Studio or Vercel Analytics. Real-time monitoring, and slow query detection. So this one we used in PlanetScale. We didn't use this real-time monitoring for this project. And then network monitoring. So just testing slow requests in the network locally. User journey mapping as well. So figuring out the drop-off points and using Google Analytics for that. Centralized logging system. So for this project, we didn't actually use this, but we would in a larger project. And real-time analytics and alerts, all of this we do configure with Google Cloud and Vercel, and get notifications based on any spikes in usage or anything like that, any custom notifications, we can code that in. We can also target users with feedback and surveys, and A/B testing as well. Then infrastructure. So we host everything on Vercel. We deploy to Next.js. We set up the environments. We set up the serverless functions and the preview environment, so you can see changes before they go live. Everything hosted on Vercel. Set up PlanetScale. We integrate PlanetScale with with Prisma, so our ORM, which is the way to access the database in the code. Cloud functions, which is what we use for our scalable solutions. So anything that needs to be high concurrency, high volume, high throughput, we use Google Cloud for. And we use this in this case for the site scanning. And as I mentioned earlier, we go up to 4,000 sites scanned in parallel. So we use Google Cloud for that, and Cloud Functions specifically, the event-driven triggers using the Cloud Scheduler. That's how we did it for this project. Vercel Edge caching, so this is to make the page as fast as possible and basically make it load as quickly as possible. So we use caching on Vercel. Monitoring and login, we use Vercel Analytics for that. So we've got analytics, as mentioned earlier, in terms of the user actions, as well as the the loading speed, so the metrics of the site and how quickly it loads and everything like that. Then security and access control. So we use Vercel to handle all of our secrets and role-based access for planet scale. So in this case, I developed it myself, but with a larger project and a larger team, we have access controls for the database. So, nobody accidentally deletes any of the data. They also do backups every hour. So again, your data is very, very safe. CI/CD workflow. So we use GitHub Actions and Vercel to automate the deployments and make everything automatic on the push of a button. And we monitor the costs and optimize for costs. In this case, it was just Google Cloud that we needed to optimize, which is our main intensive resource, which is the actual scan itself. Then security and rate limiting. So authentication, authorization. So as I mentioned, all of these basically just we implement all of the security and validation in terms of what users could try and inject into the site or into the domain field and try and run some code on our server. We basically prevent all of that. Data encryption, all standard stuff, secrets management, IP whitelisting to the database and the cloud functions. Rate limiting, so this is for the site scanning, so we make sure not to overload the server, and we rate limit how many scans a specific user can run concurrently, and the user can only run one scan per site, so they can never run multiple scans on the same site, so we also don't get blacklisted from that site by hitting it too many times while scanning. And just logging and audit trails in terms of figuring out who ran what functions. We have that all saved, and we also show that on the admin dashboard. So this is a condensed version of what I did to build the project in 7 days. If you want me to build your MVP and make it beautiful, reliable, scalable, responsive, and do it in record time, then you should book a call with me now. I'm only taking on 3 new clients per month, so make sure you book a slot so that you don't miss out.